experiencing having a stroke, and because of the session, he actually knew the signs that he was having a stroke.
Wow.
And called the ambulance. He was obviously treated specifically straight away and was able to recover very, very well. So we deliver Sons of the West that you would have been part of, but in Vietnamese. So hearing those real life stories is pretty incredible. But a big thing is connecting, like for everyone to show up every week and just have a chat for 2 hours with other people in the community is sometimes underestimated, but such a huge benefit.
Some people, they want to speak out, a voice to say anything, and want recommendators to be there.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to our podcast, Breaking Barriers Media. We're really excited today to have a conversation. Recently, we had the chance to connect with the incredible team at Western Bulldogs Community Foundation, and an organisation working really hard to build a connected, healthy, safe and equal community where everyone can thrive. Now, through these connection, 2 members of our extended family, Chithik and Hannah, got involved with the Sons of the West program. It's been amazing to see that experience unfold, and it gave us perfect reason to invite today and onto the show, introducing our special guest, Hannah Singleton. Welcome, Hannah.
Thanks for having me.
So Hannah is the Head of Programs and Community Engagement of the WBCF. Hannah is an experienced leader in this space. I'm a bit intimidated now. She's worked her way up through the foundation since 2020, and with a background in biomedical science and public health, she brings a really unique and strategic lens to her work. Hannah, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We also have here Hannah, who's also behind our mic today. So welcome, Hannah. So, Anna, we're going to get straight into it. You know, we won't hold back. We'll kind of just dive in and see what you do and all the amazing stuff that you do behind the scenes. So we'll kick it off.
Good.
Hey, Hannah. Question 1, start us off. Can you tell us about the vision and purpose behind the Western Bulldogs Community Foundation?
So as you very well mentioned, the Western Bulldogs Community Foundation really aspires to create connected, safe, healthy and equal communities.
Nice.
Across the west of Victoria, but hopefully one day across Australia as well. We do this through harnessing the power of sport. So sport is transformative, and we're very privileged to be able to utilise that power to create these healthy, safe and equal communities through our programs that change lives in many ways, which is always a privilege to work for an organisation that is doing that. And a big part of what we do is we want to inspire and empower our community, individuals, but also communities as a whole to really, live the life that they deserve to live as well. So overall that's our vision and purpose to what we do, and we do that through all of the programs that we deliver, which I know you've been a part of one. So yeah.
That's really great. I know as we go forward, we'll start to unlock everything, because I'm fairly new to this. So, that's why we have Hannah here, who's kind of gone through the experience. Yeah. So how does sport, and particularly footy, serve as a tool for connection and empowerment in the work that you do? Yeah,
so sport across the world is a community in itself. It brings people together. Yeah. It brings people together both in a competitive spirit, but also a unifying spirit, where even if you're barracking for 2 separate teams, you still are coming together for a sort of a unique purpose of winning, but also, being able to talk about the game. And every Monday morning in a lot of businesses across the whole world is always talking about the weekends.
Yes, especially
results.
The games, yeah.
So that's at an elite, like quite a public level. But when we then look at the power of sport from a community lens, when we look at local communities, particularly out in regional, rural areas of the country, it's the big thing that brings communities together is the local sport. And so by being able to utilise that power of what sport does, we deliver programs that actually don't have a lot of sport involved, but we utilise the trusted brand of who we are in the community, the Western Bulldogs, to be able to bring people in the room that may not come into a health service organisation to look after their health, because that's quite daunting, but to go to an area where they trust the brand of the Bulldogs, they've barracked for the Bulldogs their whole life, they come in and we're creating our own communities through sort of an existing community. So we are able to engage a lot of particularly men who may not feel sort of confident to go and seek health help and speak about kind of quite big and serious topics, but in a safe space that we've been able to create.
That's really good.
The brand of the Bulldogs.
So it's not really just the actual about the sport, but it's really kind of like a life or, sort of thing,
Yeah, definitely. We're sort of tapping into a trusted brand, but then talking about things like gender-based violence and gender equity, or disability inclusion and accessibility, or mental fitness and mental health. So quite serious and
that's really
important
good
topics, but in a safe space with people that may have never even talked or thought about these things before.
And I think it is something that, I think it's such a taboo. I wouldn't say a taboo, but it's just not addressed enough for people to be confident to come forward and say, geez, I didn't think that was something I was actually struggling with.
Exactly.
Is that something that was, I think Hannah did mention something to me about that. Was it the mental health one that?
Mental.
Yeah.
That you enjoyed? Yeah.
Is that one of your favourite sessions?
One of my favourite.
Yeah. Oh, look, this is really good. I'm actually getting really excited now. So the Sons of the Western Daughters of the West programs have made such a name for themselves. Now, what's the story behind them and how have they evolved?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Sons of the West is our longer one of the two. It started 11 years ago, which really worked with identifying a big gap in health needs in the community, particularly with men. They were more likely to experience chronic health issues, not go and see a doctor, not talk about their mental health. So we created a health and wellbeing program that focused on those key elements of health and wellbeing as a whole, as individuals and as a community. And we utilise the power that we have, being the Western Bulldogs brand, to be able to engage with men who traditionally wouldn't engage in these conversations because they were keen to be part of the Bulldogs in an extended forum, being this program. So that program started 11 years ago, and about 3 years in, the women in the community were like, what about us?
What about us?
And so Daughters of the West then started and has just grown and grown every year. It's once again drawing and addressing the key health and wellbeing particular needs of women in the community, whether that's through all life cycles from 18 to 90, and we see 18-year-olds in our program and 90-year-olds. So we're really engaging,
really? That's awesome.
The whole community, which is exciting. And then in the last 3 to 4 years, we've really noticed the West, as we all know, is such a multicultural community. It's one of the biggest in the country.
Yes.
And there are specific barriers as well that people that might not speak English or are from different culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds experience. And through that, we realised that this program may not necessarily be accessible for all people, given that it's delivered in English. So what we ended up doing is creating some specific sites. So we deliver Sons of the West in 11 different sites across Victoria. So we have 400 plus men engaged in that program, and then
that's
same
so good
with Daughters of the West. But what we've actually developed is specific sites in language. So we deliver Sons of the West that you would have been part of, but in Vietnamese and in Hindu for men
so good.
and women in the community. And
so it's diverse then as well.
Exactly. And the aim is to then be able to have delivered messaging, health messaging, wellbeing messaging in language to make that more accessible for individuals who may have just arrived to the country and can't speak English, or aren't really able to access health or wellbeing information themselves, with the hope that they then are able to participate in other sites in the future as well. So that's sort of how we've really grown, and that space continues to grow with more and more people. I know we started with about 30 women for our Daughters of the West Vietnamese program, and now we're having to cap it at 70 because we just don't have room to deliver it. So ideally, we grow that more and more as well, with hopefully more funding to do so. Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, like I can't believe that I didn't even know anything about this, and like to kind of the strategy that you guys have gone through to get it to where it is now. That is so good. Like that's amazing work, man.
What kind of feedback have you heard from participants? How do these real stories shape the direction of the program?
That's a great question. We're all of our programs are evidence-based, which essentially means we're hearing from our community in order to develop these programs, and we're analysing the needs of our community. So everything we do is addressing that rather than thinking around a table, I think we should do this. We actually ask our participants. So you probably have noticed in our program we ask for feedback through different formats, through conversations, also some boring old forms as well. But those forms, I can tell you
they
right
work.
now, I am sitting behind a desk analysing them to bits because they're so valuable for us to be able to shape the 10 sessions that you would have been part of. The topics, why those topics are all thought through based off the feedback from our community, and also looking at the health needs of our community as well. So that's a big part of how we shape our program and our content and who we're engaging with. Some of the stories we hear from that are incredible. Our graduations are always such a great chance to celebrate the participants, but also hear from them in speeches.
So this will be a fulfilling part of...
It's the best part of the program for us is sitting and listening to our participants, and hearing, some individuals who have literally, had their life saved through attending the program and getting a health check, which has led to them realising they may have a health issue that if they didn't address early could have actually led to some more serious consequences. So hearing those real life stories is pretty incredible. But a big thing is connecting, like for everyone to show up every week and just have a chat for 2 hours with other people in the community is sometimes underestimated, but such a huge benefit of the program as well, that connection.
That is really good. I think what I really love and what I've captured is that, from the stories you are able to help out people to identify the health issues, and for them to then keep going and to kind of address it, and that's really good. I love that. We know there are tailored versions for culturally and linguistically diverse communities. Why was that important, and what impact have you seen from that?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, a big part of those programs is recognising that there is health disparities within the West and then within culturally and linguistically diverse communities because of the ability to access health and wellbeing information with English as a second language. So that was a key driver for us to be able to introduce a program that delivers every topic that you would have seen in your program, but in the different languages they're speaking, those groups. And we are in the West, which is I think it is maybe one of the top, particularly Brimbank area, Maribyrnong, culturally diverse areas in Australia. So
it is.
To not do anything to work with community that's going to address the needs of that community is a bit silly.
I know, I was going to say.
So that was a huge driver, and it's really cool seeing that program evolve as well, because for us, we're working with community and looking at our health and wellbeing, but then also, you know, we're able to invite them to footy games, and for them to then be part of a different community for them is huge as well, and getting along to their first ever football matches and being part of different events that the foundation
That's
put on.
really great.
Really awesome to see the kind of
great way to bring
connection.
way to bring everyone in and then network from that.
Exactly.
You've held multiple roles at WBCF before becoming head of programs. How has that journey shaped the way you led today?
Massive. Being part of the org and going through different roles has 100% shaped how I sort of look at things.
It would mold you to be,
Definitely. I entered the foundation in 2020 during COVID, so mainly online, and we were delivering all of our programs online, and my role was the youth coordinator. So I was actually not working on Sons and Daughters of the West, but in all of our youth leadership and capacity building programs. So that was awesome. I'd done a lot of work with young people in the past, and so really, and living in the West myself, I was so excited to
that's a plus.
Join an organisation that was close to my heart as well, and so it was heaps of fun. It was pretty tough though, like having to deliver programs online and not have that face-to-face connection. For that first year or so. I remember even meeting my boss for the first time. He's like, "Oh, I didn't think you were as tall as you were because we'd only seen each other online." So there was definitely funny moments like that first starting. But then through sort of the different role changes and whatnot, I was able to step into the role as the youth manager and really shape the youth programs out and build them from what they were to sort of where they're heading now, which has been really exciting. So we've seen a huge growth in our youth programs because of the need, as much as us being able to meet that need through different programs as well. So that's been really cool. And then when the head of programs role popped up, I was very excited to be able to apply for that and really take a strategic lens to the work I was doing and focus on how we make sure and ensure that our programs remain evidence-based and nation-leading really, and keep growing them in that way so that we can support more and more community through the work that we're doing. So I've loved being able to have a look. So now I sit across all of our programs. It's really exciting because I get to sort of see everything rather than just one area. Get to go to graduations and watch Sons of the West one day, and the next day I'm at our Nully-During program for First Nations young people at a wildlife park. So it's really exciting, my role, because I do get to go and do different
the creative
things
side of it.
See all parts of community from age 12 to 90 essentially. So
that's really good. So you have quite the portfolio then, Hannah. So I hear that you've helped build certain areas to where they are now. Were there any challenges that you had experienced, and did it ever make you second guess going, damn, maybe have we did something wrong? Like, how do you bounce back from that, and how do you break through those barriers?
All the time. I think working in a community-facing role is challenging in itself, because you first will see all the community need and want, and you know that you can't address all of that in what you're doing.
Make everyone happy.
And that's really hard. Keeping everyone happy. And then also, I guess, just making sure that you're trying to not say yes to everything, so that you can really focus on your key things. Is really hard, because I'm definitely a yes person and find it hard to say no to things. I think we are.
Aren't we all?
I think everyone knows what I mean when I say that. So that's definitely been hard, and making sure, like, there was times where you do question, have I done the right thing? Is that the right way that I've gone about introducing a new program or a new site? But the thing that I've always lent on that really helps guide all the work I do is conversations with community and listening. So to sit in a room and listen with leaders, with community, constantly throughout the implementation, before you even implement, while you're implementing, reviewing the program, anything you do, just sitting and listening to everyone that's impacted by that program is what sort of helped me along the way. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm kind of like, I know that
you're staying on track then.
I'm staying on track, exactly.
Nah, so that's really amazing. I love that, you know, you take the time to listen, but it also kind of keeps you in check as well too. With your background in biomedical science and public health, how does that influence the way you think about the community engagement and the program designed?
Yeah, a good question. I did public health off the back of not knowing what I was doing biomedical science. I found biomed really interesting, but I was sort of unsure of where I would go from that, because it was very much treating and looking at treating illnesses or diseases that mostly are preventable.
Yeah.
So public health allowed me to tap into my passion of how do we actually stop this from happening in the first place. And that's what I've carried into the work I do today, is we are addressing a lot of the time the prevention end of the spectrum when it comes to our programs. And that is so important, to be able to work in a space where we're trying to support people to look after their own health and others, rather than waiting till it's too late, essentially. And so through my public health and health promotion studies, I've been able to really look at our programs and shape them to address the root causes of issues, rather than trying to kind of plug a issue at the end when it's a bit too
late to do something.
So through our youth programs, but also being able to bring in guest speakers to our Sons and Daughters of the West program that enables you to then feel empowered to go and seek help, whether that's mental health support, or physical health, or having a new exercise regime, or whatever it may be. That's been a really big part of how, you know, that background has shaped the direction that we are and going in from a foundation point of view.
What does a typical day look like for you in your current role?
If you ask my colleagues, it will be a lot of me running around the office from meeting to meeting.
I was just going to say, after you said you had two meetings before here, I was like, what?
It's a lot of, it's different every day. There's no typical day is the answer to that. So it's doing things like this, speaking about the work that we do, but also being part of community consultation meetings, meeting with sector leaders, meeting with organisations and networking, and then going along to programs as well is sort of my typical day. And then when I can, I try and get some desk work done.
I was just going to say, when do you even find the time?
Usually on a work from home day on a Friday, I try
where
and
everything's just
just smash through my emails and different elements as well. But yeah, a lot of my job is like every week will look different, and every day will look different, and that's part of the beauty of it.
I was just going to say, that must be the exciting part. Exactly. Like, you know, what am I going to expect today? What challenges am I going to face?
Exactly. It's daunting and definitely a bit scary sometimes, but also it's it's why I'm doing this because of the sort of variety and the different things you get to do. So,
that's really good. Yeah. Your job's exciting, man.
How does WBCF ensures its programs are culturally responsive and generally inclusive of the diverse communities you serve?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's not an easy thing to do when we want to work with such a diverse age range, diverse cultural background, diverse in SES, all the different sort of elements. As I said before, it's sitting and listening to community and talking to community before we do anything. And then also in the delivery of our programs, it's not sort of me delivering a program. It's people from the different cultural and linguistically diverse community groups. It's from different, backgrounds, age backgrounds, try and have a few more younger people delivering our youth programs as well, so that they're relatable. And
It's inclusive. You're getting everyone involved, which is really good.
So that's the biggest part of trying to kind of, it's the most important thing in developing a program, as I've mentioned before, is that community consultation, but then also involving community in the delivery. So, for instance, our culturally and linguistically diverse sons and daughters of the West programs are delivered by community leaders in the program. So they're casuals with us at the foundation and deliver that program from start to finish with different staff helping coordinate that in the background as well. So getting community involved from the start to the end of the program is the key, really.
There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes in order for this.
We're a busy team.
Can you share a moment where community feedback led to a major change or improvement in a program?
Yeah, so I always love this one because it was in the youth space, and given my work in the youth space, I could say every program has been shaped by that, so I would be here all day if I went through every program. But our Nelly During program was delivered, it's delivered for First Nations young people in the West, and it's delivered after school. Or it was delivered after school, and this program was delivered in a West Melton area, and because of COVID we delivered it online and had some Ballarat people join.
Oh, that's good.
And so we really saw a need and a want for delivering this program in Ballarat, which we do a lot. We do a lot of programs there. And so that was a good indicator for us when we finally got out of all the COVID mayhem to go, how do we bring this to Ballarat? And so in the process of bringing it to Ballarat, we worked with the community, and in particular the career education support officers as part of that, and coordinators who work with the students day in, day out in schools. And they just said to me, they're like, why are you doing this after school? Like, can you do it in school? I'm like, if you think so. And it sort of bubbled and evolved from there. And there's a huge extensive approval and community approval process to sort of change a model like that into school time. But while that was such a daunting and long process, it was the best thing that we did is listening. First of all, that came from community.
I was going to say, why are you doing it? Why after school? That's really good.
And so now from that program, we had 20 young people participating. We have now 100 young people each year participating in that program because of the accessibility of moving it during school time.
How many people it's reached.
And the engagement from schools has been amazing as well. And those career education support officers, coordinators, community leaders. So that was a really quite tangible example of like the change of an actual model of a program based off that community feedback that we received. But as I said, like we do evaluation of all of our programs every year that feeds all of our community feedback in. So every year we're slightly tweaking it's topics or timing or the guest speakers we get in to make sure that we're listening to the feedback that we're receiving.
That keeps it really in the know, like in the now, like it keeps it up to date.
Yeah.
That's really good. Amazing work, man. What have been some of the biggest learnings or surprises you've encountered in this space?
It's a hard question. The biggest learnings, I think I've always worked in a model that is consultative. So like, I don't think that was like coming into this space, I'm like, oh, how have I not done this before? I think that's something that
you learn along the way.
You learn along the way. For me, I probably didn't realise the power of an organisation like the Bulldogs or an AFL club and what they can actually do. To know that we've got a non-for-profit org behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, hopefully, soon, really delivering these incredible programs. That's probably the biggest learning I've had is the power that sport can really have.
Really, yeah.
I probably didn't realise it until working for an organisation that utilises that transformative power of sport for good, really.
Yeah.
And I think the more organisations can do that and work together, and that's probably the other learning is we need to work together more as organisations to be able to have more impact. So
absolutely.
The more I work in this space, the more I meet with non-for-profits in the sector, the more I realise how much better we'll all be if we kind of just collaborate and
band
work
together.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Now, you also oversee the goal mentoring program. Now, is there a I'll ask you after I finish my question. Can you tell us about it, how it's helping both mentors and young people grow? Does GOAL stand for anything, or is that literally just...
It's GOAL. Yeah,
GOAL. Okay, cool.
Goals, I guess. No acronym for GOAL. I don't know why we have it in capitals. I think it's just to make it stand out a little bit more.
That's cool. No, that's why I asked. I was like, okay, is there a reason why it's in caps?
But no, this program's an awesome program that's been going since, I think it's 2019 is when this program started, and it's a program that's based around the mentoring element, so bringing community mentors as well as AFL and AFLW mentors to mentor and work with young people from African cultural backgrounds in Melton, Inner West, and hopefully one day Ballarat and beyond.
Yeah.
And the program, essentially, it's quite funny because we have mentors that come and sort of really want to work with young people and support them in the community. And a lot of our mentors are young people themselves, so 18
that's
to
really
25-year-olds who have this experience and sort of it helps shape their own career trajectory as well. But 99% of the mentors come out of it and they're like, I actually feel like I got more out of it than the young people did for me mentoring them, which is kind of
That's
cool.
really
because
good.
you're seeing people come in and go to be a mentor but come out feeling like they've actually been changed because of it for better as well. So it's just a really great way to bring two sort of parts of community together, and there's a lot of stigma that young people face about being young people, and it's just trying to break down those barriers as well by having chance to sort of mingle in a safe and fun space.
I think
through
so.
The program.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I have a 16-year-old, and like that's one of the things that I wanted growing up, was to be able to have a space to just be comfortable, to be a safe space, to address all the complications. So I said to my daughter, like, I don't want to have that recycled behavior from that was passed down. So we try to break a lot of those recycled things. Yeah. So now we just have an open conversation. Like, she'll go, and it's something that I really love that you guys are actually really implementing into your program. So great work, man. Hannah, man, I'm just getting in more and awe of what you do. What are some of the most pressing needs you're seeing among young people today, and how is WBCF trying to meet those needs?
As I mentioned, our youth programs have grown from, working with 100 young people to thousands now. And it's a lot because of that increased need post-COVID, but also the changing landscape of technology and all else that comes with it. So the biggest needs we're seeing, and we do a lot of consultation, as I've mentioned, and a big one is employment opportunities. So there's a lot of young people who are doing incredible volunteering, community programs, incredible stuff, but can't get a job. A casual job, at 16, 17
it's so hard.
years old. There's a lot of transport's a big one. Young people, say in the West in particular, that get access to reliable transport, particularly in Melton and beyond, is really hard, because then it means they're not able to go to programs and whatnot. So a big thing that we do is provide transport to all of our programs.
Okay.
And while that comes with obviously quite a large cost, we strategically find partnerships that can support that, so that we can support our young people to be able to get to programs. Otherwise,
it's just not going to work if you can't.
Exactly. So that's a big one. And then there's a lot of violence that we're seeing in community across the board, and young people recognise that and see it and want to help and support and do something about it across the board. So what we're trying to do is work with different organisations and actually really address, potentially what some of those causes are that lead to that. And a lot of it is boredom. A lot of it is not having things to do, not being able to get to places to do fun and safe things. So being able to host a range of community programs that we do, whether it's after school, social and study club within the Melton and Inner West community, where we can bring young people and do study and have some social time in safe spaces, has been really great to support young people in their academic side of things, so that they feel like they can not get disheartened by school and keep going. And then also
ray of hope.
And then also running our goal mentoring program during school holidays to give young people a fun and safe space to enjoy what they're doing. We also run our youth leadership project, which provides young people an opportunity to really explore those leadership skills and develop them, and they develop a project for their community, an impact project. So they're actually addressing these needs that they're seeing themselves in young people and creating projects to address those. So they're sort of the things that we're trying to do to really support young people. And a big one is listening and providing the space for them to be able to talk and be heard as well. So these leadership programs are a big part of that as well. So there's some of the key things we see, but there's a lot of incredible young people out there that never get the attention. It's always the negative stuff that sort of gets highlighted. So if anything, we're just trying to really provide positive narratives around the incredible young people out in the community.
Oh, that's really good. Geez, there's a lot of people that wear capes that are never acknowledged or never identified, but it's great creating this space for them.
Exactly.
Have there been any standout stories or young leaders whose journeys have stuck with you?
Oh, many. We have an incredible young person. Her name's Fudsy, and she did our goal mentoring program when I was sort of in my youth coordinator days. And she was young. She was like 12, and she's done some podcasts now. And she's
really
her ability to public speak and express her views and what she's seeing and also what she's doing has been incredible. So she's one that I've seen through a number of our programs, through our youth leadership project, our goal program, and she continues to show up in community, and also you can see her leadership skills evolving as well through her school and her own community as well. So she's one young person of hundreds that I could shout out, but she's an incredible leader in the community, and I'm kind of hoping, I reckon she'll be Prime Minister one day. That's my hope. I'm going to claim that I saw her when she was young. I knew her from
I seen her through from the beginning.
And her mum is also a mentor in the program, so you can see how important that connection is from those mentors as well in her life, and how that's really helped shape her to be her as well. So
that's
it
very
goes
impactful.
To show that mentoring element and how important it is for young people.
Okay, shout out to, was it
Fudsy,
Fudsy. Okay, shout out to Fudsy. All right, collaboration seems like a huge part of your work.
Yes.
Like you have expressed and explained, your portfolio is massive. How do partnerships with councils, health orgs or schools strengthen what WBCF can do?
Oh, we can't do what we do without partnerships with all of those organisations you mentioned. So we work with hundreds of different organisations to get our programs out and delivered. As you would know, through Sons and Daughters of the West, we deliver that program in partnership with a lot of the local councils. So we work with 6 different local councils to facilitate and host those programs. And that enables us to have more of a reach. So being able to get out to 11 different sites wouldn't be done if we didn't have those partnerships in place.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when we work with young people, school is such a huge space for young people. So to be able to partner and work with all the key schools, 60 plus schools in the area, is really huge and integral to engaging young
Yeah.
people and working with the schools as well to support them because they sort of don't have a lot of time to do the stuff that we're then delivering. So to be able to, give that a bit of space is always good. And then all of our programs and topics are delivered in partnership with different health orgs, different non-for-profits, different specific organisations depending on the topic, and utilising their expertise is really key. But then also it's so important for our participants because what we're doing is exposing those different organisations and creating pathways for the community members we get in to our programs so that they know where they can go to get further help or to engage further in their community as well. So it's important for us to just operate the program, but important for our participants to then be exposed to whatever is out there in the community that is often not that accessible to see that it's there. So,
from your perspective, what makes a really strong and effective partnership?
I think alignment in your goals and mission and vision is key. So you want to work with organisations that are aligned to what your mission and vision are as an organisation. And for us, obviously, that's a huge part of that is
it's very
community.
important.
So for us, we want to work with organisations that by working together will strengthen our community. And we do that with, as I mentioned, hundreds of organisations. So, as long as you're aligned in that mission and vision, then I think you're stronger together than separate. So, yeah.
Jeez, okay. So what's next for the foundation? Are there any upcoming programs or directions you're excited about and maybe good for also our viewers too to kind of hear? So tell us what's coming up, what's new?
Yeah. So in terms of upcoming programs that we're promoting, Daughters of the West is actually our next one. So Sons of the West has just finished, but Daughters of the West is starting in July. So registrations are out for anyone that is interested.
July. Okay, all right.
And that's delivered in the 6 LGAs in the West. So Wyndham, Maribyrnong, Brimbank, Ballarat, Melton and Hobson's Bay. So if you're living in any of those areas, then get along because it's great fun. But in terms of the actual sort of strategic direction, we've excitingly, and it doesn't sound exciting to most people, but these are the things that excite me in the background. We've completed what we call a theory of change, which essentially realigns who we are and what we do as an organisation.
Oh, that's really good.
And it allows us to both be really focused in what we're doing and stick to that and build that and strengthen it. It's really hard in community org to not pick up everything.
Yes.
And so what we are really excited by is these key sort of streams that we've established through that. Nothing too drastically different to what we're already doing. But essentially, as mentioned at the start, those key streams focus on creating healthy and empowered communities, creating safe and equal, and inclusive and connected communities. So they're our key pillars that we've really established. And a big part of the growth in that space is utilising our ability to really engage men, particularly in the community, to have those difficult conversations around gender equity, around mental health, as well as really working with young people in that early intervention space. So how can we really support young people before they get too far down that pathway as well? So that's some of the key areas, working really closely with sporting clubs and community to work with all levels of community, from an individual to a group level as well.
Okay, is it easy for those who are interested and want to register, is it easy for them to get in?
Yeah, definitely. So all of our programs are free to community members so that everyone can join. There's no barriers there. We have all of our kind of programs and registration forms on our website, which is foundation.westernbulldogs.com.au, I think, I believe it will be there.
Yeah.
Also, all of our programs are accessible and posted through our Instagram page, which is WBFC Foundation, and also our LinkedIn as well, Western Bulldogs Community Foundation. posts and puts all the links up to all of our programs to register. As I mentioned, Daughters of the West is the big one at the moment. And Goal Mentoring as well starts next week. So they're two of our programs about to kick off that anyone can join.
Yeah. What are some of the biggest challenges or opportunities you see ahead for community development work in general?
I think everyone says this, but funding is such a big challenge, particularly at the moment in the current landscape. That's certainly a challenge, but I see an opportunity in that to work more collaboratively between organisations. So with less funding essentially means that we have to be a little bit more creative in how we're working together, and rather than competing, how do we join forces and actually really channel the both funding but opportunities and work on the strengths of different organisations together to impact more community rather than competing against each other. So I think that's something that I know I'm in my role really focusing on in the future is how do we work more collaboratively together with all the incredible organisations out there and really tap into the strengths of each organisation to have more impact.
That's really good. That's great.
For anyone listening who wants to get involved, whether it's volunteering, mentoring, or just spreading the word, what's the best first step?
I think, as I said, get whether it's you're more of a website person, get on our website, or more of a socials person, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. We've got all of our information there, so always do that. We also have an email that you can always email foundation@westernbulldogs.com.au. We always reply and want to get as many people involved that want to get involved as possible. So just don't be afraid to reach out.
What was your experience with the programs that you attended?
Yeah, you stole my question.
Yeah, it was really good. It was actually fun. Participate in exercise too.
Yeah,
we did that.
Yeah.
But three most I enjoyed was the men's mental health, the sleeping, and the gambling. So how they taught us how to for men's. So that was really exciting for us.
That's great to hear. And those, a lot of them were lived experience speakers. So people that had gone through challenges and sharing their challenges themselves. So it's good to hear that that's impactful for you listening on the other end. How did you find the exercise?
It was good.
Yeah.
With me and Chitik, we were together.
Yeah.
We had so much fun.
Oh, that's good. That's great. And did you enjoy the graduation at the end? Yeah. That's great.
Finally, is there any moment or story from your time at WCF that really captures the heart of why this work matters?
I think I'll use an example of a participant that gave a speech at our 10-year Sons of the West event last year, and he gave a pretty incredible speech that essentially tells a story about how he went to the program, and one of the sessions that we delivered was stroke health and stroke awareness, and a few years down the track he actually was experiencing having a stroke, and because of the session he actually knew the signs that he was having a stroke.
Wow.
And called the ambulance and sort of straight away said, I'm having a stroke because of these signs.
Jeez.
He was obviously treated specifically straight away based on the symptoms and the advice he sort of gave, and was able to recover very, very well from that. And he brings it back to his time at Sons of the West, and learning those signs and symptoms were a huge help for him today to be able to sort of tell the story essentially. And then the same for Daughters of the West. We have a participant who is now a volunteer with us and has been for a number of years, but she actually got a breast screen because the session encouraged everyone from Breast Screen Australia. They came and presented, and then everyone got encouraged after the session to go get a screen and check. and they found a small lump, and it was actually breast cancer, early stages, but because of the program,
you were
she
able to
went and got a check, and that essentially enabled her to act on it early, so that she wasn't sort of further down the line by the time she found out. So some of those stories are very specific examples of some of the health learnings that our participants have really taken away, and ended up, essentially saving their life or supporting them. So they're one of many that I could, as I said, go on for days talking about. But yeah, really impactful to kind of hear that by joining a program that is free and accessible can actually change your life, whether you know it going in or not. So.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it, once you know that something that's impactful like that can actually bring some really good results, especially for people who kind of just ignore it.
Yeah.
So kind of educating people to kind of see that now. So that's really great. That's a tremendous thing that you can get out of it. If you had to sum up the impact of WBCF in one sentence, what would it be?
I think it's empowering individuals and community to be agents of change in their community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being the voice as well.
Being the voice, yeah. That's what we want to do, and connect community together. So.
Well, you guys are doing a really awesome job of that. I mean, coming from a person I had zero idea, and to kind of learn exactly the program, what you guys have actually put, there's a lot of work that's been put into this, and the different sectors that you have looked after to the point of now you being the head. That's really amazing. Kudos to you, Hannah. That's just really great. And your team also that's behind the scenes too. For those who are interested, please look them up, look out for all the updates that are coming in. Look, Hannah, thank you so much for your time and for sharing so openly about the foundation's work. It's been such a valuable conversation. I know myself have learnt a lot, and with Henoch's experience in the programs too, it's really good, and I think this won't be the end of it. I think, I'm pretty sure this will open up a lot of doors. We can't wait to share it with all our listeners and to our audience. If you are interested in learning more, check the show notes for all the links Hannah's team provided, including ways to register for upcoming programs, get involved, or simply spread the word. Until next time, take care and keep building those inclusive, empowered conversations and communities as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for participating in the program.
Oh, geez, we're good. We're done.
Good job.